bit differently. You see, we are here, of course, in the Rackspace headquarters. Comments about, hey, is there really a slide in the Rackspace headquarters? And back there, in fact, you know, what would be fun would be to start the show by just going down the slide. Go, everybody, down the Rackspace slide. That did thoroughly annoy the little handheld thing I'm using. Well, let's walk back up on the desk and get the show started, everyone. All right, Daniel, let's switch desks. Here we go. Everyone, welcome to another Cloud Talk Live. All right, everyone, so glad that you are here. It's just a little bit different way to start the show, which is sort of fun. And I am live again here inside of the Rackspace headquarters. And turn off that thing. Super annoying. Guys, we are doing something really special here today. We are finishing the summer road trip with a great episode where we're going to talk to the general manager from our UK office, which I'm really excited about doing. And then with that, let's push some more buttons. There we go. We've got the usual news. We have got updates from the cloud providers as well. And it's going to be a great episode. So starting different like we did has got me a little bit off my rocker, trying to get all these buttons pushed just right. But hey, it's all good. Now, what I want to do is just, of course, to welcome you here. Now, you know what you have to do. You have to tell me who you are and where you are. You've got a comment section, so go ahead and use that comment section. And let us know, let me know your name. Let me know what's going on. Hey, we've got our first person commenting and saying hello, which is super fantastic. Glad that you are here. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can always do that by sending an email, good old-fashioned email. Yes, they're alive and well. Over to solve@rackspace.com. And that'll come to the whole production team, myself included. Daniel gets it. Megan gets it. I don't know if Benjamin even got it. He's gone now. He's back to school, intern Benjamin. So that'd be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you indeed. Hey, we got India here. Glad that you're here, India. Well, with that, folks, I want to remind you that the audio from these events, as well as other long-form podcasts, is available on our podcast stream. So all you have to do is go to wherever you find your own favorite podcasts and subscribe to Cloud Talk. You'll get both the regular Cloud Talks as well as the audio from these Cloud Talk Lives. All right, Shabir, we're glad that you're here as well, and you are welcome. You can come back every Tuesday morning and hear from us. We got Krupa from the UK. Hey, our guest is from the UK. That's exciting. Tiffany's here. Glad that you are here from San Marcos, just up the road. Not a racker, but hey, you could be. Go to rackspace.jobs and see what's going on over there. We'd love to have you. But if you'll go and subscribe to the podcast, we have some great stuff going on. I just interviewed our head of security. It was a great conversation. It'll come out in a few weeks after I edit it. Just got to get that done. All right, let's see what's next here. Hey, I think what's next is we bring Andrew up. Andrew Brierley is our general manager of Rackspace's UK office. Now, as part of this whole summer road trip series, we are interviewing different cloud professionals from all around the world, from a little bit here in the U.S., also from, we've had Netherlands here, now we have the UK here, we've had India here, we've had Singapore here a couple of times, and maybe even Australia. I know we've had a lot of people, but it's been a great way to spend the summer, and so that's been fun. Now, you'll hear at the end of the episode, you got to stick around, about my guest for next week. It's going to be a great one. Are we in and around the topic of cybersecurity? Boy, have I found an expert to have a conversation with us. But with that, Daniel, why don't we go ahead and bring Andrew up onto the stage? I'm anxious to get to have a little visit with him. Now, I'll tell you guys, the interwebs between here and the UK were a little sketchy earlier, so hopefully all this works out well. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hope you can see me there, guys, on the screen, but hope it's working, right? Glad you survived. Was a little concerned for you that you guys know this, but we also had in the UK office had the courage to use it. it personally, but now you've set the example to the office, I'll certainly have video it for you as well, sir.
Well, Andrew, we're so glad that you're here. Thank you for that. And I will tell you, unfortunately, we're having a bunch of audio breakup as well. Daniel, would you pop me a note in the private chat and see if you are hearing that as well? Because it could make it a little bit hard to have our conversation. But Andrew, what I'd like you to do while we test that is just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your career in tech. Yeah, Shabir's telling me that Andy's breaking up. That's unfortunate. But
Yeah,
let's start with just telling us a little bit about what you've got going on.
Yeah, I will. If I talk a little slower, it may work. I've been with Rackspace February 2020. I joined. We went into lockdown. An unusual joining a company as the UK, not being able to social with the employees. It's quite a challenge. Rackspace, I had 21 years. This is vice president, and that was with Accenture. So I'm kind of through and through. It's kind of A now, right? So excited to be part of Rack. The best career move of fun in the last 2 years that I've had here, I think.
Well, Andy, I'm glad that you are here, but unfortunately, your voice is not really here today. I'm not sure if it's something to do with the computer. I don't know if it's our service that we're using, but unfortunately, I think we're going to have to reschedule unless this fixes itself real quick, folks. We still can do all the other stuff we do in the show, but Andy, I think we're going to have to bring you back another time because it's not working. You're breaking up. We're hearing about every fourth word or so. So thank you for spending a little bit of time in the afternoon, but we will bring you back. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, enjoy your afternoon, everyone. That's a first. You gotta, in a live program, you never know what you're going to get. So usually you get the guy on the newscaster. He's holding his finger up to his ear saying, "Oh yeah, we got technical problems." Well, I don't have anything in my ear, but I can tell you we were having technical problems, and you guys are certainly calling that out. But that doesn't mean we have to pull the plug on the entire show. Absolutely not. In fact, if we keep our eye out, we might even pull up a guest that doesn't know they're about to be a guest. But in the meantime, what I want to do is let's go look at some cloud news. You know, we've got all of that we can share. So let me push all the right buttons over here. We'll bring this stuff up. We'll go to there. And then we'll click this button right there. That's right there we are. So if you want to get more information, go to rackspace.com/solve. Now, as part of that, actually, do you want to see if we can get somebody on here who doesn't know they're going to be on here? Wouldn't that be fun? All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send a message, and we're going to see if I can rouse somebody out of the office of the CTO. Doesn't that sound like fun? But while I do that, what I'd love for you to do is to make a note. You want to go to rackspace.com/solve. And the reason you want to do that is that's where we keep all of our thought leadership pieces. Now, we had a content meeting yesterday, and we have got some amazing new folks who are going to be a part of that team coming in and out of the office of the CTO. And we have some great tracks in around strictly data and AI and ML. We've got tracks around security. We've got tracks around application and application development. It's going to be pretty darn awesome. Can I get you on a call right now? All right, let's see if we can get one of my compadres out of the office of the CTO to respond to a Happy Teams message and come join us for a little conversation. But if, he's responding. Hey, Daniel, will you send Ben Blanquera the link in Teams real quick? And we'll see if we can drag him in here. Guys, this is, if there's anybody that I can take and pull into an impromptu conversation, it is Ben Blanquera. This guy can think on his feet like nobody's business. Daniel is sending you a link. Okay, here we go. This is going to be super fun. He doesn't know what's about to happen. He's going live in front of all these hundreds of people, and he just thinks it's a regular old meeting. Oh, this is like, maybe this is a new live stream idea where I just impromptu call people and drag them in to talk to you folks. Wouldn't that be fun? Do you think that'd be fun? Comment. Tell me in your comments what you think. Meantime, I'm going to tell you about this little slide we got back here. German made. It's a 2-story stainless steel slide. It was a pretty confusing video, I would think, of me sliding down that thing. And but it was super fun. And anytime you got to go from floor 1 or floor 2 to floor 2 to floor 1. If you're going from floor 1 to floor 2 in a slide, you're doing it wrong, and you might get some sneakers in your teeth if somebody's doing it the right way. Well, with that, I want to tell you a little bit about our guest that's coming up next week. And this guy is an expert when it comes to cybersecurity. And somebody I actually don't know overly well. I've watched on several other podcasts and live streams, reached out, and he said, yeah, I'm super interested in coming and being a part of it. So he's going to be here tomorrow. Hey, Poocher, welcome from W Media. I'm not sure what W Media is, but that sounds like a cool place to work. And let's go ahead and check Teams and see what our status is over here. Daniel, what's the status? Can you shoot me a private note, please, sir? And I sent him the link. Okay, cool. Thank you. So let's see what else is going on in the world of tech. You know what? I am going to go ahead and do the news. And then should Ben be able to make it in, we'll grab him before we go and do updates from the cloud providers. How does that sound? I think it sounds like a great idea. All right, so just me. We're going to turn that off. We're going to push this button right over here. All right, because there is some really interesting news that's going on, and I want to tell you all about it. So let's push that button like this, and then we push this button like that. All right, check this out. Okay, so Google did announce something that was super duper interesting. Yes, they announced it yesterday. At least that's when I saw it. And that is they recently thwarted the largest HTTPS distributed denial of service attack in history. Now, if you remember, Cloudflare had announced that they covered one earlier this year, but this one was 46 million requests per second. That's right. And the customer, aimed at one specific customer, 46 million requests per second. And you know what? Customer never knew. Google was able to absorb all of that traffic. And to give you a scale of what that looks like, thank you, Daniel. Scale of what that's like, it's like one of the top 10 sites in the world is Wikipedia. And if you take all of their traffic over the course of an entire day and you deliver it in 1 second, that's what this was. Now, why this is important for you and why I wanted to bring it out is because when we think about what are the benefits of moving out to a hyperscale cloud. Now, there's a lot of hype when we think about the hyperscale cloud. Don't get me wrong, but there are real tangible benefits if you go about it right. But some of them you just get. It's like when you move into these clouds, the network fabric that you get to ride on is one that is able to do things like absorbing 46 million requests per second. Can you imagine that? It's insane. All right. Also, 78% of data management pros struggle to identify cloud data. Now, we all hear, and Ben's going to come up, he's a data guy. We all hear about the benefits of moving out to the hyperscale cloud. And in doing so, you're able to have all these other data assets and capabilities that you can move all your stuff in and get all this information. The problem is that if you don't have an appropriate data management strategy, then you just have a wider place and more closets to hide more stuff in that you really can never figure out. And hey, Pucho, glad you're here. So if you don't have an appropriate strategy, you're gonna get stunk. So this was an article from VentureBeat, and here's it was from a survey that they did. And look at this. One of these questions was, how challenging are the following data and technical issues for your organization's current data ecosystem? Poor data quality, lack of categorization, difficulty understanding the data, and lack of data observability. Isn't that amazing? We would think that we would have solved for some of these things, but it brings out the point that if you don't have a handle on your data management, it gets really hard to then turn those raw data assets into data pipelines that then turn into quality data output. You know who knows something about this is my good friend Ben Blanquera. Ben, are you here? Do we have you hanging out here? I'd love to bring you up on stage if you're running around in the back somewhere. And his video's not on. Okay, so we don't have video for Ben. Ben, can you turn your video on, perhaps? All right, we may just go back to cloud news. What an interesting day. If you can't be flexible, what are you going to do? Maybe I'll just turn the fancy little remote camera back on and give you a tour of Rackspace. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. But anyway, all right. Well, Daniel, let me know if he turns his video on, and then we can have a conversation. All right. Well, with that, let us jump back to this right here. We'll jump into the cloud releases because, as always, there is new information from our cloud provider friends. And so let's start with over at AWS. Amazon MemoryDB for Redis is now HIPAA eligible, which is amazing. Now, there's two things you need to know about this and why it's important. First of all, it's available for HIPAA, which means it can be combined into an overall solution, obviously medically focused, medical type solution, healthcare. But it says the fancy word eligible. It doesn't automatically make your solution HIPAA compliant, but it's HIPAA eligible, which means it can be part of a larger system that can then be certified as one that is HIPAA compliant. So you got to do that work yourself. Now, over at Azure, their update is general availability. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, North availability zones are now available, which is super great. Hey, guys. Now, the UAE, they've got multiple availability zones in production now. There really isn't anywhere in the world you can go and hide from the cloud. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The cloud is infinite. And then over from Google, you can now use tags to allow or deny security policies in cloud big table instances, not incidences, instances, which is fantastic. So utilizing more of a programmatic system that says you're going to classify data through tagging and then apply security policies based on the tag itself. So not just into individual table or assets or larger constructs, but by tags as well, which is really pretty cool. All right, I am told that Ben is available for us now because this has been such a crazy morning. Oh, but it's good fun. So if Ben is there, let's bring him on stage.
Hey, technology works. I'm here.
Technology works. Guys, it is my incredible pleasure to introduce you to not only one of the smartest guys I know in tech, but one of the most flexible guys I know in tech, and that is Ben Blanquera. Ben, welcome to Cloud Talk Live.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. I appreciate you pinging me 2 minutes ago.
Absolutely. We've talked about you coming on the show again and doing stuff, but I sort of thought I would give you some notice more than 2 minutes. Actually, we had Andrew on for our GM of UK. His connection failed, and I thought, if there's one person who can tap dance with the best of them, it is Ben Blanquera.
Let's do this. What are we going to talk about?
Ben, I've got two topics for you, both related to one another. So guys, Ben, if you're not familiar, lives in a state in the U.S. called Ohio. And there is a ton of tech going on in that greater Midwesty sort of area inside of America. And Ben is a part of some CIO groups. He's also part of Chief Data Officer Magazine. He's an editor in charge or a board member or something fancy. But Ben, I would love you to tell us about the state of tech in your part of the U.S.
State of tech in Ohio? Oh my God.
Yeah, because it's exploding. It's crazy. If you're not aware, it is hot.
We are killing it in the Midwest here. A couple, the biggest news on the local front here is Intel has decided to put their next chip making plant in my backyard here in Central Ohio. So what does that look like? At the initial outset, that is a $20 billion investment in this region.
Wow.
That is on top of, in the last 6-7 years, Amazon, Facebook, and Google have all put hyper data centers here in just within 10 minutes of my house.
Boy, latency must be amazing when you're accessing those services.
It is amazing. And why is that? Why? Because when we think about sort of the amount of businesses here in this region, we are high in fintech, we are high in healthcare, we are high in retail. So, Ohio, the Midwest, is really positioning itself to be the data corridor of the United States. Within 400 miles of this region, half day's drive here, we have, I think, 70% of the GDP of the country.
Holy cow! 70% of the gross domestic product of the U.S. is within a half a day drive of where you are in Ohio.
It's crazy, and from a VC private equity, I think Ohio has I think we crossed outside of the Chicago, Boston, and Silicon Valley, where we're now in the top places where private equity is putting a ton of money, or VC. So we are hitting it in all cylinders. Here's an interesting factoid. When you look at talent, we have the second largest concentration of colleges in the country, next to Boston. There's literally 150 higher education institutes within an hour or two of my house. So it is a hotbed that no one knows about, but guess what?
Yeah.
They're figuring it out. So I'm pretty bullish on what's happening here. It is an incredible place to be, and we got a ton of folks coming. Oh, here's an interesting factoid.
Okay.
Remember the Dewey Decimal System?
I do.
Remember, back in the old school, you have to look stuff up. This is pre-Google.
What, those little cards? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a fundamental taxonomy for organizing information, right?
Yep.
And so the underpinnings around how to organize information is owned. That Dewey Decimal is owned by an organization called OCLC. It catalogs the world's libraries. So our claim to fame in this region is those the meta sort of information around how you organize lots of information. That is the underpinning for the World Wide Web. And a friend of mine, his name is Eric Miller, worked with Tim Berners-Lee to roll that out globally around how do you organize and how do you connect things. So that is our claim to fame. And the first ATM in the country, guess where it was?
Ohio,
my friend. So, hey, we're killing it and having a really good time.
Well, hey, one of the things I know about you is you're deep in data and really stay in touch with stuff. And what you're talking about with the Dewey Decimal System, and you just mentioned, it's a way to classify data and organize it in a way that's findable and usable. Now, if you were listening just a minute before, I talked about how this study from VentureBeat went out and realized that most of the people who have all their data out in the big clouds, it's actually just made the problem worse because the data is proliferated, but they still don't have a data management, data organization strategy in place. Do you have a couple of tips that you could give out to companies who need to undergo this process? How can they get started? What are some things they should think about?
Sure. A couple of key things. One, first point, data is gold. And so we have to think about data as a precious asset. Fundamentally, it isn't just a thing you create and just goes out there. It is gold. And
That's
so
right.
That's the first organizing thing. Data is an asset, number one. Number two is start thinking about your organization, sort of how you create value for your customers, and think about the data that drives that, because there's all sorts of data. Not all data is created equal. And so creating a way to understand what you have and govern it is tantamount. Just so in all the things in the world, of all your elements, like figure out of your thing, all the data you create, here's the 300 things where we create value, whether it's customer information, whether it's supplier, whatever it is. Figure out the most important ones, and then start putting in elements to say who creates it, who can change it, what is the name in our organization, so some governance structure associated with that, right? And then figure out, kind of like in your house, where are you going to put it? What is the source of truth regarding that? Where is the source repository? Because data, I can cut paste with the best of them, but that's not the source of truth for my company. So figure out where is the source of truth and how do I organize where I put this things. And then the last piece is like educate the heck out of your team about here's what you got, right? Half the battle in a lot of organizations, you don't even know what you got. And my guess is there's a thing that says, the folks closest to the work know what data they have and can use it the best. Guess what? Most of the time they don't even know what they got. So
That's right.
Figure out a way how to educate folks, create data literacy. That's sort of the thing that, how do we go from we have data to being fluent, right? It's one thing to be able to look at a dictionary and say, hey, this is how I translate. It's another thing to be fluent. And what we really want to do is figure out how to get your organization to be data fluent. How do you go from data literate to, which is I know what I got, to how do we become fluent? So it's a continuum, but it starts out with data matters. It is the thing. It is gold to us. And in a digital sort of world, that's it, right? It's about data.
That's right. That's super good stuff. So first of all, data is gold. It's super important. Not all data is created equal. Classify that data. Fourth was where's the authoritative source for that data? And then lastly, how do you get your company to be data fluent? From data aware to data fluent. Now, Ben, I've been holding out on you a little bit. I've come up with a step after data fluent, because that
What?
company that is data fluent, you know what they become? Data affluent.
Oh my God! Did you just make that up?
No, that's in my back pocket for about a week now.
Oh,
I've been saving it
you've been
for just such a
sandbagging.
moment.
You've
That's
been
right. I was
sandbagging.
sandbagging.
All right.
That's right. That's right. Or maybe both of us were traveling the heck out of last week and we didn't have time to talk.
Yeah. Does that help, Jeff? Does that help?
Yes, it's fantastic, Ben. So first of all, thank you so much for jumping on extraordinarily short notice / no notice. But you brought the gold, and this was hugely helpful. So thanks so much. Now, what we're going to do is get you back for a full episode where we're not scrambling and continue this conversation. How does that sound?
Would love it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for jumping in. I'm going to let you go about your day, and I'll see you in meetings, I'm sure, much later in the day. Folks, wasn't that amazing? Ben, with no notice, comes and drops the data bomb on us. Fantastic stuff. By the way, Alexis Dupree, thank you so much for being here. Glad you're here. Thanks for watching and being up in Dallas. I hope you're not underwater. Guys, they had like 15 inches of rain in one day. All the rain they should have gotten in one quarter, they got in a day. All right. So that takes us through cloud releases. We've had discussions. Today's just a funky day, which is fun. You got to have one of these every now and again. Keeps us on our toes, but that does mean that we get to now go and have a conversation about, we don't sell here, but what's my line, folks? The only thing I sell is you coming to spend some time with us and work with us, which means it's time for the Rackspace job of the day. And today's job is a Microsoft 365 migration engineer. Now, it's not just about migration, although that's a piece of it. Let's take a look at some of the job description information. So as a 365 engineer, you'll help with medium-sized to large enterprises with their migration from wherever the heck they are, usually on-prem email, out into Office 365. You'll need to understand the customer's business and technical needs by working literally not just as this contractor, but as an extension of their team. And you'll need in-depth knowledge. Guys, we need you to stay close to the tech. We need to stay close to Microsoft. So we're going to help make sure that happens. If you are smart about the Microsoft 365 platform, well, I would love for you to head over to rackspace.jobs and click on Find Jobs. Guys, I found this one above the fold, first page, like maybe the fourth or fifth link. If you're ever curious where I find these jobs, all I do is go over to rackspace.jobs and find them. They're right there. I just scroll around, find one I think sounds interesting. You can find all sorts of other information. And folks, bookmark this page and go back there at least once an hour. Just kidding. Once a week is fine. And see what we have new. We've got a brand new batch of, what do we call it? We call it our research. The research. It's on security. You're going to learn all about the state of security from 1,400 peers around the world that we've gone out and talked to. All right, folks, as I mentioned before, this has been a crazy day, and I want to thank our sponsors who, in good times and bad, are always here to help us out, and that's App Dynamics. If you are running your custom apps in the cloud, if you're running your off-the-shelf apps in the cloud, or anywhere they're running across distributed systems, App Dynamics is there to help move you from monitoring to full stack observability. Guys, if you'd missed last week's conversation on full stack observability, you're going to go back and listen to that one. Somehow we'll link to it. I don't know how, but we will. So I want a big thanks to them. App Dynamics. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have a great security episode, and here's who it is. It's Walter Haydock. If you're not familiar with Walter, now's your time to go get subscribed to him and start following his information. But tell your friends, if you're in cloud, you want to come and listen to the conversation next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Central Time with Walter Haydock, now he's a director of product over at Privacera, but folks, his resume goes way back. He is... I think he's been to Harvard Business School. He is on the boards of security companies. It's pretty cool stuff. We're bringing it next week, so I'd love for you to be here. And with that, it brings us to the end of this crazy day. I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Sorry, I clicked early. This is Jeff DeVerter for Cloud Talk Live.